tourist in Dublin, Ireland, who was visiting the Guinness brewery where they make the Guinness Stout. And there's these huge big containers containing hundreds and thousands of gallons of Guinness. And this particular tourist was walking around and happened to fall in. And he wasn't able to swim, so he turned to prayer. And his prayer was, "Oh God, give me a mouth worthy of this occasion." But I just want to say welcome everyone and thank you, St. Mark's, and people who are here that I've met along the life's journey, that network of interpersonal relationship in through which we feel God up close and personally, hands-on in our lives in a daily basis. As somebody said, God is in the bits and pieces of our everyday life. A kiss here, a hug there, sometimes tears, a pearl necklace around our neck of poverty. But welcome to all of you, parishioners, friends, all who gather today to give thanks in the best possible way we can to God for enabling us to be here at St. Mark's, and also to remember that there were many other tens of thousands of parishioners here in these benches and pews going back 110 years since this church was founded. And when I came to St. Mark's after being at St. Peter's down the street for 13 years, I got the assignment to come as pastor at St. Mark's in 1993. And being at St. Peter's, I often walked along the streets here to the Carney or passed by St. Mark's Church on the avenue. And I remember 22 years ago when I came here, I remarked the song from My Fair Lady. I have often walked down these streets before, but the sidewalks always stayed beneath my feet before. All at once I'm several stories high, knowing that I'm on the street where you live. And so as a result of being here, I feel now stronger, because I can fly higher than the eagle, because you have been the wind beneath my wings. And so I want to express my appreciation for the countless gifts of love that I've experienced and enjoyed in and through our being together here. And I remember in the early years when I came here, somebody made a remark that really motivated us, I hope, ever since, and that was, you know, what's the use of recognizing Jesus here in the form of bread and wine if we do not recognize him out there in the street, in the avenue, the work, in the school, wherever we go. And as a result of that, I remember on the 90th anniversary of St. Mark's, we had a special statue made of our Blessed Mother, and we intentionally put her right out on Dorchester Avenue and gave her the title the Madonna of the Streets, to try to indicate in a very concrete, symbolic way that that's where it's at in terms of putting our faith into action in all of the different parish programs and ministries and activities. And then about 10 or 15 years ago, to try to make the same statement, I had these two, they look like the Freedom Trail going down the center aisle. These painted around the altar here and going right out the steps and onto Dorchester Avenue. They're trying to make the same point, you know, that the connection between the sanctuary and the street, between the church and the world, and our programs and a lot of what we've been into, both in the church and in the community and beyond, have been an effort and a challenge and an opportunity for God to use us to continue the mission of Jesus Christ in our own time and place, responding to the needs of the times in which we live. And so I think this past week we have an outstanding example of a person in our world and church who brought that home to us, I think, very significantly, and that is Archbishop Romero of El Salvador. You may have seen the papers and newscasts this week how he was beatified a week ago Saturday because of being assassinated in 1980 because he pleaded with the soldiers and ordered them to stop killing innocent civilians. And he stood for the poor and those on the margins in a remarkable way. And the next day he was celebrating the Eucharist, which is the summit and the source of our identity and mission and what we are about. And he was assassinated right while he was saying the Mass. So it brought home to me that connection that we're trying to be about, that it's not only within the four walls of the building, it is the universe, it is the world, that's where it's at. And so it's in that spirit that I come and give thanks for all of the ways the members of the parish and all the programs here on the campus of St. Mark Parish and overseas, in ways that we're trying to put that into action, even through the membership and people we've collaborated with, to try to transform the dark yesterdays into bright tomorrows. So that what was said to me in the early 1990s, that what's the use of recognizing Jesus Christ here in the form, under the form of bread and wine, if we don't respond and we recognize him out there in people, especially those who are left out and left behind. So if I was to say anything about my time here, that has been what has come to me in and through our relationship with one another and trying to act on that in all of the various ways, programs and ministries of church and community. If I was to mention them, we'd be here all afternoon. But anyway, finally, I would say that there has been 6 pastors here at St. Mark's prior to my coming, and there's been tens of thousands of parishioners who have filled these niches and been so faithful and active in making St. Mark's one of the best there is. There's no place else on earth that I would rather be than here, because it's a world-class community now. You don't have to join the Navy any longer to see the world. And experience and enjoy. And so today in a special way, it's not only all of us who are here, but it's all those members that I've gotten to know in my 22 years, but many have finished their earthly journeys, and many before I've come. I remember the song that really spells it out for me, faith of our fathers and mothers, living still, in spite of guns and fire and sword, or how our hearts beat high with joy, whene'er we hear their glorious words, faith of our father and mothers, living still. We stand on their shoulders, and the final hymn today kind of spells it out, what I feel as a result of this solidarity. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to this rock we're clinging. Since love is Lord of heaven and earth, how can we keep from singing? And so, in that spirit, Emily Dickinson, one of the great poets that I like, she says, you know, all of earth is crammed with heaven, and every common bush is on fire with God. But only those who see take off their shoes, while the rest of us walk around picking blackberries. To see with the eyes of the heart and the eyes of faith, it changes everything. And I feel that much here at St. Mark's because we're a square mile. The streets go from Washington to Adams, from Ashmont almost all the way to King's Corner. That square mile. And we are surrounded by 6 parishes: St. Gregory, St. Matthew, St. Peter, St. Ambrose, St. Anne, and St. Brendan. St. Mark is a square mile right in the center, in the heart of Dorchester. And it's not only, it has been at the heart for me in so many ways. And finally, the song that comes to mind is the one where it says, love changes everything as a result of my being here. That's my feeling today because of God blessing me abundantly with the members and all the events and happenings of this great parish of St. Mark in the heart of Dorchester. So the song is, love, love changes everything, hands and faces, earth and sky. Love, love changes everything, how you live and how you die. Love can make the summer fly, or a night seem like a lifetime. Yes, love, love changes everything. Now I tremble at your name. Nothing. When I start singing, it's hard to stop.
I was going to say.
Love changes everything. Days are longer, words mean more. Love changes everything. Pain is deeper than before. Love will turn your world around, and that love will last forever. Yes, love changes everything, brings you glory, brings you shame. Nothing in the world will ever be the same. Off into the world I go, planning futures, shaping years. Love burst in and suddenly all our wisdom disappears. Love makes fools of everyone. All the rules we make are broken. Yes, love changes everything. Leave our parish in its flame. Nothing in the world will ever be the same. Thank you.